Welcome, university literature students and explorers of the multiverse, to this explainer. Imagine for a second if the ultimate embodiment of evil could personally guide you through a literary analysis of his own cosmic majesty. Well, today we're basically doing the next best thing. We're stepping straight into the mind and mythos of Stephen King's most terrifying trans-dimensional antagonist, the Crimson King. We're going to break down the sheer scale of this entity, looking at exactly how he operates, his incredibly dark origins, and what he actually represents in the broader scope of literary villains. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's quickly run through our syllabus of uncreation for today. We'll be covering 1. Architect of universal ruin, 2. A dark familial lineage, 3. Archetypes of ancient villainy, 4. The metaphysical chess master, and finally, 5. Descent into hollow madness.
Starting off with Section 1, Architect of Universal Ruin, Cosmic Nihilism and the Abyss.
We have to begin by looking at a grand design that is just far, far superior to the petty squabbles of your standard localized villains. The Crimson King literally wants to dismantle the metaphysical pillar of all realities, known as the Dark Tower. If he destroys the beams that support the tower, he plunges existence into the beautiful, chaotic embrace of Discordia. Think about what that actually means for a second. He isn't seeking political power, right? He seeks absolute nihilism. He fundamentally threatens the stability of every single timeline, every world, and every dimension. He wants to collapse reality into a state of absolute nothingness and then rule over that warped wreckage.
And to pull this off, he definitely doesn't just stick to one form. The Crimson King is a trans-dimensional force of uncreation. Depending on exactly where and when you encounter him, he goes by various names, like Los or Ramabala, and he manifests in these glorious, totally terrifying forms. Maybe it's a spider-like nightmare, a red-skinned entity of blood, or a terrifying gargoyle of ruin. These forms are specifically designed to guarantee the inevitable breakdown of our precious order. He is basically the ultimate shape-shifting demonic entity.
Moving right along to Section 2, a dark familial lineage, blood, prophecy, and the Prim.
Now, this cosmic threat is actually a deeply personal war. And here's the wild part. His shared Arthurian bloodline maps directly against his detested nemesis, Roland the Gunslinger. Both of them are direct descendants of the legendary King Arthur Eld. That's right, the Crimson King literally identifies the Gunslinger as his cousin. So this frames their massive, multiverse-spanning conflict as two sides of one singular eternal prophecy. It's essentially a familial dispute, but played out on a trans-dimensional stage. One cousin is the prophesied defender of the tower, and the other, the absolute agent of universal uncreation.
But you might be wondering, why are they so incredibly different if they share this same blood? Well, the crucial point here is that the Crimson King's hybrid nature is fueled by something called the Prim. See, he was born from the union of the Crimson Queen and King Arthur Eld. The Prim is this formless, ancient chaos that actually predated creation itself, and this fundamentally corrupts his lineage. Because he literally has the Prim flowing in his blood, he views existence and structure as nothing more than a prison. His undeniable obsession is to shatter the structures of reality that bind him. It's not just malice, it's a desperate cosmic claustrophobia.
Which brings us to Section 3, Archetypes of Ancient Villainy, Echoes in Academic Literature.
You know, when categorizing greatness, we university folks often draw inspiration from J.R.R. Tolkien's Sauron or the dark elements of Arthurian legends to really understand archetypal dark lords. But think about it. Sauron seeks absolute dominion over a localized realm, Middle-earth. He wants physical conquest. The Crimson King's metaphysical war of entropy effortlessly eclipses those mere physical conquests. He is targeting the metaphysical core of the entire multiverse. He doesn't just want to rule a continent. He wants to erase the entire canvas.
He absolutely does not merely seek to rule a ruined landscape. He functions as a force of absolute cosmic nothingness. The Crimson King is the ultimate embodiment of entropy. His war is completely metaphysical, targeting the very laws of logic and purpose. What you should really take away from this is that he represents the concept of decay and chaos itself, which makes him an incredibly profound commentary on the actual nature of evil.
Let's dive into Section 4. The metaphysical chess master, manipulation and unseen machinations.
So, how does a being of this magnitude actually fight a war? Well, he definitely doesn't operate as some primitive battlefield tyrant. He's an unseen chess master. To bring down the Dark Tower, he systematically uses extreme psychological coercion. Step 1. He corrupts mortal minds, just whispering into entire worlds to gather followers and demons. Step 2. He actively kidnaps psychic children. They're known as breakers. And Step 3. He siphons their reality-sustaining power to literally sever the metaphysical beams holding the tower up. He forces these abducted psychics into his service to dismantle the coherence of the multiverse entirely from behind the scenes.
And this just brilliantly illustrates his penchant for exploitation. He completely orchestrates mass destruction specifically to target and eliminate anyone destined to protect the Dark Tower. Individuals like the prophesied Patrick Danville are hunted down relentlessly. The king manipulates events and individuals across works like Insomnia and Black House, proving his reach is totally pervasive and his cruelty is highly calculated.
Finally, Section 5. Descent into Hollow Madness, the tragic flaw of malevolence.
Even in an epic of his own making, literary analysis always insists on a tragic final act. Charting his descent reveals a deeply symbolic decay. He begins in Era 1 as a being of immense transdimensional superiority, an unmatched mastermind, but his singular obsession with the tower begins to fray his sanity. By Era 2, he devolves into an obsessive paranoiac, driven entirely towards self-destruction. And finally, Era 3, he becomes a delirious, diminished, undead force. He literally traps himself in his own madness, locked on a balcony of the very tower he was trying to destroy.
So, the crucial point these texts make is that his increasing paranoia reveals the profound tragedy of his own madness. As the quote goes, while malevolence may appear formidable and seductive from a distance, it is frequently hollow and pitiful when examined up close. The Crimson King projects this huge aura of immense power and intelligence, but his path is ultimately defined by pretentious cruelty and pure delirium. His cyclical struggle against Roland just underscores the persistent resistance of heroes against a darkness that is, at its very core, empty. Yet even when seemingly defeated, his presence lingers as a constant reminder of the absolute fragility of existence within the Wheel of Time. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. When the mastermind, the architect of universal chaos himself, is revealed to be nothing but a hollow shell, does the Discordia waiting in the dark become any less terrifying? Does knowing the monster is mad make its teeth any less sharp? Thank you so much for exploring the depths of the Crimson King with me today. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.